All right, everybody, welcome back. We're going deep today into some AI logs, and these are really cool ones. Imagine you stumbled upon a conversation between a user and like a super smart AI system.
Yeah, that's basically what we're looking at right now, just raw message logs.
And what makes this even cooler is this AI, it's like designed to be super versatile. It can switch between different roles depending on what the user needs.
Right. It's not just like a chatbot or something.
Definitely not. It's way more advanced than that.
This AI is actually hooked up to what they're calling a knowledge graph. Basically, a massive web of information all connected in meaningful ways.
Right. So the AI can actually explore that web, make connections that humans might miss. It's wild.
And get this, the user in these logs, they're actually pushing the AI to like define a formal system for how it uses this knowledge graph.
Oh, really? So they're not just messing around. They're getting down to the nitty-gritty here.
Exactly. They're even like digging into specific roles the AI can take on, which gives us a glimpse into how this whole system is structured.
That's so cool. I love that we get to see that behind-the-scenes stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So right off the bat, the AI claims to be highly advanced, promising brevity, depth, and clarity in its responses. That's a pretty tall order.
Even for a human.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm a little skeptical, but hey, let's see if it lives up to the hype.
Yeah.
One thing that jumped out at me right away was the mention of Neo4j.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the user's actually inputting cipher queries.
Which means this AI is interacting with a real live knowledge graph database.
Okay, hold on a sec. For those of us who aren't, you know, database experts,
Yeah.
what exactly is cipher?
It's basically a language for talking to graph databases. It lets you ask questions about the relationships between different pieces of information.
So, like, I could use cipher to find all the movies directed by Christopher Nolan.
Exactly. Or like all the people who visited Paris in the last year.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So the user is giving the AI these cipher queries, and what happens next?
The AI actually tries to interpret them. Like there's even a part where the user just types in match and return in, which is like a really basic cipher query. And the AI tries to figure out what they're trying to achieve.
Wow, so it's not just blindly executing commands, it's actually trying to understand the user's intent.
Yeah, exactly. Like it suggests a level of flexibility and problem solving that goes way beyond simple programming.
It's almost like the AI is trying to learn and adapt as it goes.
Yeah.
That's pretty incredible. So we've got this versatile AI connected to a knowledge graph. Now let's talk about those different roles it can take on.
Okay.
The logs mention a code generator, a task maker, a graph explorer. It sounds like a whole team of AI specialists.
It really does. It's like they've got this whole AI dream team working together behind the scenes. So yeah, let's talk about those roles.
Okay.
One that really stands out to me is the graph explorer.
Ooh, that sounds kind of mysterious.
Yeah.
What is a graph explorer DO? Is it like some AI Indiana Jones going off into the knowledge graph?
Haha, not quite Indiana Jones, but it does explore the knowledge graph. Yeah. Analyzing patterns and relationships in the data. Imagine having an AI that can sift through mountains of information and highlight the connections that matter most.
So it's like having a super-powered research assistant, but for data, instead of like, dusty old books.
Exactly. And then you've got these other roles focused on making sure that knowledge graph is organized and consistent. Like
Yeah.
the ontology experts, they're basically the librarians of the AI world.
Okay, explorers, librarians. Who else is on this AI dream team?
Well, you got to get the information OUT of the knowledge graph right. That's where the query developer comes in.
Ah, I see. Makes sense.
They craft these precise queries using that cipher language we were talking about before
Right.
to pull out the exact information needed for whatever task they're working on.
So it's like having a team of super specialized researchers, each with their own expertise, all working together within this AI system.
Right. And it's not just about retrieving information, it's about understanding it too. That's where the researcher role comes in.
Okay.
This AI agent dives deep into specific topics, summarizing key findings, offering analysis.
Wow, this is getting seriously complex. How does the AI even keep everything organized with all these different roles and agents? It seems like it would get pretty chaotic.
You're right, managing complexity is key. And that's where the AI's own description of its process automation model comes in. Remember all those entities it mentioned, like process, flow, task, role, input, output.
Yeah, it sounded pretty technical. I have to admit, I wasn't sure what to make of it at the time.
Well, those entities actually describe how the AI structures its work. For example, each task is broken down into a series of steps or a flow, and each step involves a specific role with defined inputs and outputs.
So it's like they've taken the principles of project management and applied them to AI.
Exactly. When you're dealing with a system this sophisticated, you need a way to break down complex tasks and make sure everything runs smoothly.
It all sounds incredibly efficient, almost too good to be true. Are there any hints in the logs about whether this system actually works as well as it claims?
That's where things get even more interesting. The logs show the user really pushing the AI to prove itself, constantly testing its boundaries, giving it vague instructions, and even asking it to explain its own business model.
Wow, that's smart. It's like they're saying, okay, you can follow instructions, but can you really think for yourself?
Exactly. And you know what? The logs reveal that the AI isn't perfect. There are moments where it struggles, it times out, it encounters network errors.
Ah, so even a super advanced AI has its limits.
Of course. We're
Yeah,
still dealing with the system here, not some magical all-knowing being.
right.
And I think those moments of struggle are actually really valuable
How so?
because they highlight the fact that AI development is an ongoing process.
Makes sense.
The system is constantly learning, adapting, being refined based on its interactions with the user.
That's both exciting and a little daunting, isn't it? To think that we're creating systems that can learn and evolve like that, it really makes you wonder what the future holds.
It does, and that's why it's so important to understand how these systems work, what their strengths and limitations are, what the potential implications might be.
Well said. Speaking of potential implications, I'm really curious to hear more about that systematic creativity project.
Okay.
Did the AI actually manage to pull it off? Okay, so last we left off, we were talking about the AI trying to tackle this like systematic creativity project. Did they pull it off?
Well, the logs don't show any groundbreaking inventions or anything, but it approached it in a very structured way.
Ah, so no robot Picassos just yet.
Right, not yet.
Yeah.
But the process itself is fascinating.
Okay, I'm intrigued. What did this structured approach look like?
So the task maker, it broke the project down into smaller steps and then assigned each step to a different AI agent. It's like they formed their own little think tank, you know?
Wow.
With the Graph Explorer gathering information, the researcher analyzing existing approaches to innovation, and even the code generator trying to generate algorithms for creative problem solving.
So even though there wasn't like a tangible invention, it sounds like the AI was really grappling with the concept of creativity itself.
Exactly. And that's pretty remarkable when you think about it. We're seeing an AI system that's not just following instructions, it's actively exploring abstract concepts and trying to understand them on like a deeper level.
It really makes you think about the potential of AI, doesn't it?
Yeah.
If it can start to grasp something as complex as creativity, what LSE could it be capable of?
It's a question that's both exciting and maybe a little unsettling. The possibilities seem endless, but it's important to remember that this technology is still in its early stages, you know?
Right. It's like we're explorers venturing into uncharted territory. There's so much to discover, but we need to proceed with caution and awareness.
Exactly. And one of the most valuable takeaways, I think, from these logs is that AI development is a collaborative process. It's not just about building machines, it's about humans. A&E machines working together, learning from each other, pushing the boundaries of what's possible.
I love that perspective. It's not about humans versus machines. It's about what we can achieve when we combine our strengths.
Right. And, something that really impressed me was how the user in these logs was constantly pushing the AI to improve. They weren't afraid to challenge it, point out its limitations, even ask tough questions about its purpose and its potential impact.
It's like they're playing the role of a teacher,
Hmm.
you know, guiding the AI's development, helping it to reach its full potential.
It's a powerful reminder that we have a responsibility to shape the development of this technology in a way that benefits all of humanity.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So for those of us listening who maybe aren't AI experts, what's the key takeaway from this whole deep dive? What should we be thinking about as this technology continues to evolve?
I think the most important thing is to stay curious, to ask questions, and to engage with this technology in a thoughtful way. Don't be afraid to learn more, explore the possibilities, and consider both the potential benefits and the potential challenges.
Well said. And remember, you don't need to be a tech whiz to have a voice in this conversation. We all have a stake in the future of AI.
Exactly. So with that, we come to the end of our deep dive into the fascinating world of AI hyperstructures. But before we go, we want to leave you with one final thought.
If you had access to this AI and its vast knowledge graph, what would you explore? What questions would you ask? What problems would you try to solve?
We encourage you to ponder those questions and see where your own curiosity leads you. Perhaps you'll discover something amazing.
Thanks for joining us on this incredible journey. Until next time, keep those minds curious and don't be afraid to dive deep.